one. What's up, ASL? It's your boy Dravos. I'm back with Brad, with Ian, and with Lily. How's it going?
Indeed. What's up?
Hello,
I am
it's
here.
me, Lele.
And I'm Ian.
Oh, speed run recap. Because Brad's getting angry. He wants to go to bed.
It's not like we're 2 hours past the time in which we agreed to start.
Once
So
again,
We know
it's
how to work
partially
our
my fault.
technology. It's fine.
All right. Just straight into week one. We had the Phoenix Flygons versus Zarude Leafstorms. And this was a match. It was exciting. It was on time. God, TCP is already going to meme like everything I've said. Yeah, it was an exciting match to see, for sure, because it was very
for
delayed, so we were all
reasons.
very excited to see it going. You're really interrupting me, Brad.
Oh my god. You're just the best.
I'm ready to unwind and really dissect these battles, and you're just delaying it.
We're having fun tonight.
Yeah. All right. I'll let Brad get the laughs out, so we can get on with this. The pre-bed
Sure.
giggles, as some might call it.
Yeah.
Are you good? Are you done?
Oh yeah, I usually just do it during your battles, but I'm starting to get some out now.
All right. On a serious note, though. I said serious and you laugh. Okay, on a serious
On a
note.
serial note, though,
This was a very fun match to watch. As Keister said, he's kind of coming back into the competitive scene, so there were a few mistakes like defogging his terrain. It was very rough to see. But it's exciting to see old coaches returning back into the fray, you know. Um, just Yeah, the not knowing that rapid spin boosts speed in this generation really didn't help him. Uh, but he did have his work really cut out for him. Ian was really on top of his game. He used a lot of his mons very well, and on top of that, he was getting some pretty important crits, like U-turn crit from Tornadus, taking out uh, Melone, apparently. Which Pokemon? Alolan Raichu was nicknamed Malone. I don't quite get the joke in that, but yeah, Ian was using his team very well. Type Null was used well. Keldeo is always scary. Just I don't have a whole lot of thoughts on this other than Ian was playing well and Keister's kind of just shaking off the rust.
I think Ian reminded us all why KO is a very scary threat. That Mon two-shot a Spadef wall. Not a very good Spadef wall, too. Sylveon usually eats hits, but it did not appreciate Choice Spec's Hydro. It was pretty wild. He tried really hard to get it back into global range, but it just wasn't happening. Raichu might have been able to do a lot of work if Defog didn't get rid of terrain, but unfortunately, no mechanics.
Yeah, I mean, I give it to Keister in that he planned his terrain out effectively, right? He had the Raichu, he had the terrain pulse on the Blastoise that killed the Keldeo. Like, you can see hints of a plan throughout Keister's battle, but I think the whole potentially eluded him a little bit. Ian, with a nice prep, with the Tornai, not only did the Tornai I believe, defog the terrain, but it also was the kill leader in the match overall. Who would have thought, man, pairing Torn with Charizard X? Just it's just a genius pairing. I don't know. And you add a Scizor in there. It feels so similar to me. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know, Season 8 championship team. I don't know. But I think the most important thing here, we have Ian. He's going to tell us why choose to only nickname the Uxie.
Honestly, I did nickname them, but I prepped them all while I was on the ships. I don't think they saved.
I see.
So
That's a good excuse.
just a thing to add. Tornadius actually had a 62.5% chance to hit KO the Raichu even without the crit, so that was in my favor. Crit just sealed it. Yeah.
So you really had it out for Melone this week, then. You really wanted
Yeah, not just this week.
No.
Not just this week.
But I'll give it to Keister. I know he's coming back from a long break. I see the breadcrumbs. I see the plan. I see the idea. As he starts to piece together this generation and figure out what works and what doesn't, what's different, the mechanics, better days are ahead.
Hopefully. For his sake.
All right, are we ready to move on to the first match of week 2?
I hope so.
All right.
For his sake.
Yeah, we hope you are too, because you're up.
So I thought this match was very good. Peaches played it very well. He thought about. It really feels like he thought about all possibilities that could go down in this match. Like he teched both Liquidation and Scald his Araquanid, so he could demolish whatever came out. That Avalugg stood no chance. The moment he clicked Scald. He brought Thunder Wave, Rotom again, and paralyzed Volcarona, which immediately killed that mon. He got a lot of his reads right. Like, for example, he crunched on a trick from a Choice Specs Espeon, getting him the kill when Sucker Punch. When I believe TG was expecting a Sucker Punch to come out there. Bit of a misplay in my opinion, because he did have a Registeel in the back still at 85%. That came in pretty easily. What you gonna do? I liked Peach's endgame. He had a Lychee Berry Endor reversal Hawlucha that he saved for the end. It lived a quick attack and just cleaned up the game from there.
Yeah. I should give Peach 100% of the credit in this match. He's defying the odds with his team in some ways by not bringing the Alakazam week 1, not bringing the Indeedee week 2. And the more he can do that, the better off things will be. I still think come playoff time, his team is going to be extremely predictable with at least half of his 6 coming. Going to be stuck into that Indeedee, Alakazam, Hawlucha. Maybe he can prove us wrong. But he's making it work week in and week out by bringing creative sets to make use of his mons without just relying on the terrain gimmick. And I think that's important. And it's probably a big part of the reason that he's 2-0 and up 7. I mean, 2-0 is nice, but having a nice differential head start is a big deal, especially this early in the season. The Hawlucha play was nice. The Araquanid play was smart. I don't think TG looked exceptional in this match, especially with a team that I thought TG matched up fairly well. Dragapult is pretty good in this match, or at least the team preview. It looks like it's going to be exceptionally good, and I don't know that you could really say it contributed in the way that a #1 overall pick traditionally does. Mega Pinsir's still terrifying when it clicks double edge. That's still a horrifying prospect for anything to really face. I'm not sure, and I'll pose it to you guys, and then I'll move on and let y'all have it. But what was the Avalugg for? I'm just not sure. I think about Peach's team and I think about his roster. I'm not exactly sure what the point
That's
of
a
the.
good question.
I'm not sure the point of the Avalugg.
It's probably
So-
like to rapid spin the hazards from the Requinid or something
I
like
mean,
that.
potentially, right? But then you've got the Zam. Luch is going to hit it hard. Rotom. Potentially even the Shaman's going to hit it fairly hard. And DD. I don't know, man. I'm looking at that one and I'm not seeing the thought. If it's just hazard removal, you got other options. I just don't see that one working out.
How many other options does he have, though?
He had the Volcarona and he had Magic Bounce in the
That's
same
true.
battle.
That's true. I forgot about Magic Bounce, but I can see how Volcarona's moveset would fill
Yeah.
real fast.
The-
I definitely think
The best I could
removal is the struggle for his team.
say is maybe it was trying to answer the Araquanid, maybe attempt to answer Caparaja, but that mon would have destroyed Avalugg.
Yeah. Few things to add to that. Peach's prep was I can't think of a way that he could prep better for this match. The Holucha surviving the quick attack. EV, I assume, to survive the quick attack from Mega Pinsir was huge. And TG is a little rusty after coming back after so many seasons. You can see that. He's 0-2. But he does have the potential to learn this new generation really fast. I think him letting Volcarona get Thunderwave really early on did cost him. Because besides the Rotom, he nothing else particularly liked taking hits from Volcarona, which could have been big for him if he preserved it right.
Yeah.
Dragapult was pretty much non-existent this game. I kind of expected it to do more, but it didn't really do anything much. Mega Pinsir was good, but I think he expected it to kill Holucha, which it didn't, which did cost him in the end. I think TG just needs to get used to this generation and just prep better based on this generation and not use his knowledge from previous generations in prep because things have changed quite a bit since then.
Yeah. The only thing I would say before we move on past this one is just, you bring in 6 Mons. You only get 6 slots. They're all 6 of great importance. And I look at his team and I think, Mega Alakazam, I think of the Shaman, I think of the Indeedee, and I think, what happens if maybe instead of bringing Avalugg, he brings Houndoom? I don't know. I just feel like that was a missed opportunity.
Yeah.
Anyway, on to the next match. We've got our own. He's here. Ian battling Brett, a classic matchup, as you can see on the screen. Nice win for Ian. Brett in week 1 did not inspire a great deal of confidence. I think maybe we were a little direct in our review of his play last week, but it wasn't his best. I think he knows that. This week was far better, although it is maybe not reflective in the scoring. The use of the Victini to final gambit the Mega Charizard X, and let's just delete that Mon from the field. What a brilliant trade. I think Victini is a great Mon, and whether you prefer Victini or Charizard X, getting rid of something like a Charizard X is going to decrease Ian's path to victory pretty significantly. And so that was a really nice way to start the game, really. It was turn 7 or 8, but the way that this game was working out, it we were still very much in early game in those first couple of turns. The Thunder Wave onto the Torn T was a little cheeky. You know, T-Wave's been used quite a bit this season so far, and it's such an inconvenience if you're running fast mons. Honestly, it's an inconvenience running any mon. T-Wave on a 30 speed can be annoying because of the para chance. But it was a nice match. Again, the Keldeo, really powerful for the second week in a row, hitting the Seismitoad for roughly 1 million with Secret Sword. It was a nice match from both sides. And this is the type of battle I think we're expecting. Brett's very capable. I've seen him do good things in the past. I've seen him play really well. And to me, this is reminiscent of what a ASL battle should look like. It should be tight. It should be close. And I think this was tight. I think this was close. And Ian with some nice prep. He had the rock polish Deancey at the end that cleaned it up. I think he won without the rock polish, but it made it look cute. So well played to both players, but congratulations to Ian for a nice win.
Yeah, this game really had me on the ropes. Losing Zod X was really difficult. I had to rely on other mons which I didn't particularly prep to break his team, but paralyzing Torn and getting a para on Alcremie as well, that was big for me. And I did bring the rock polish Diancie, and I had to rock polish just to make sure Hydreigon didn't one-hit KO my Diancie with Flash Cannon, just to take that off the board. Alcremie was scary. Had to rely on Crush Claw, which eventually would have won me the game with enough spam with para, but it could have gone either way. I think Brett played it phenomenally and so much better than he was in first week as well. So if this is what he can keep up for the rest of the season, he's going to be getting a lot more wins for sure.
All right, are we on to the next one then?
Sure.
You don't want to speak, Dravos?
You guys just covered everything, you know. You guys are much better.
Did you not watch this game as well?
That's ridiculous, Ian. It's not like we paused so Dravos could collect his thoughts on a battle or anything earlier. That didn't happen, so I don't know why you would ask that now.
Such a busy week, okay? I just signed a lease. I'm moving in like 3 days now. It's a busy week, okay?
I don't know
I'm
what you're
glad
talking
ASL
about.
can
None
know
of
all
these
this.
things have actually happened, so I don't know what you're talking about.
I'm glad you could inform the people of all this.
Yes. I like to keep ASL up to date.
That's good. They worry about you.
You know what's also important? The next match.
Yes, let's move on to Iolkid and Shadow. This was a game of. This was a very interesting game.
Now go ahead
Iolkid
and tell
played
'em.
really well, and Shadow played really whatever the opposite of well is. I think it comes down to the way Iolkid actually switched into Shadow's threat, Shadow's mons. They every switch in made sense, but for Shadow, I can't really say the same. A few things being, why would you swap in the Celesteela and take 50% off knockoff from Weewile when you had a Scrafty right at the back? And why would you swap Tentacruel, swap into a Tentacruel Scald with Dracovish, which is probably a mon that you would have relied on to make a hole? It would have probably done a good chunk of damage to even a Pharaoh switch in. And he did switch in. I don't get why he set Trick Room up with Zatu on Gigalit and just to take Stone Edge and die when he could have probably switched into Zatu, switched Zatu in on the score from Tentacruel quite comfortably. So a lot of these things added up throughout the match, and it was quite puzzling to watch most times. The few more things being, there was a play when he had, let's see, what one was it?
Should we
Oh
pause?
yeah, he had. Yeah, I did watch his game like Travers. No, I watched his game 15 times, but I still haven't been able to process what's going on because it's really puzzling. Gigalit Stonage. I don't know why he didn't just swap into Rodriguez or Scrafty earlier on, because he had so many possible options for every switch in, but he always constantly chose the wrong player, which I think cost him. Ielkid, though, looking like a huge threat this season, as he did last season, but he got unlucky last season. But hopefully this season, things will go better for him. And yeah, see him in playoffs most likely if he keeps this up.
Yeah, I mean, you touched a lot on what Shadow did wrong, but Kid really did a lot of things right as well. The Liquid Ooze Tentacruel was really good. It shut down Celesteela immediately. It had Shadow afraid to ever click Leech Seed ever again. Um, he had great answers switching in the Gigalith to stall out the Trick Room, take advantage of that. Arcanine was coming in, doing damage, and then teleporting when Shadow wasn't expecting it. Actually, no, it never clicked anything except teleport, so I lied. I guess I didn't watch it. Weavile was doing a lot of damage. Ferrothorn was annoying with T-Wave, with knockoff. Yeah, Brandon really just did a very good job as well. It's really easy to watch this match and say, wow, Shadow played bad, but I think Kid just really was in top form this match as well, on top of Shadow kind of still putting together how his team plays.
Brandon definitely reminded us why Arcanine is an amazing defensive pivot, why Weavile is amazing offense, and he reminded us all of the commonly forgotten ability Liquid Ooze. Not many ones get, but Tentacruel is one of the few, and it's a actually pretty amazing ability. Wish it was more widely distributed.
Yeah, I would just say you've all touched on a lot of the things I would like to say. Extremely confusing choices on Shadow's end, really nice choices on Brandon's end. The one thing that I would just say, in addition to what's already been said, is I don't know, and I'm guessing I could be just completely wrong. Maybe Shadow just shouldn't drink before battles, but it would seem to me I'm welcoming feedback here, but I'll question whether Shadow had prepped the right sets. Even though it looks to me like he brought the right mons, I wonder if he just prepped the wrong sets. Zatu should very comfortably swap into Ferrothorn. I mean, it's got Magic Bounce, it's got Heat Wave, it's got Roost. There's no real reason why Zatu can't come in on a Ferrothorn. And the same response to a Tentacruel. It should be able to do both. It's relatively bulky, it's relatively fast. It shouldn't need speed investment. Why are we swapping anything into a Weavile that's not a Buzzwole? And so it makes me question if Shadow had EV'd and built the right mons for the right purposes. Maybe he did, and maybe he just misused them, or maybe his prep didn't set those mons up to succeed in the roles in which they were needed.
Yeah, you know what's interesting about Shadow's prep is if you look closely at the doc, you'll notice that according to the week by week stats, he didn't even bring Dracovish, and he instead brought two Scrafties. if you look closely, though.
Based on the way that game was played, I'm not surprised at all.
All right.
You know what? I do remember
Again.
the second scrafty now.
Don't drink before your matches, kids.
Have we roasted Shadow enough? Is it time to move on?
No, we have not roasted Shadow enough, but we should move on.
Okay. All right. Our next matchup is the Cabo San Ludicolos versus the Phoenix Flygons, also known as Dirty Logic versus Keister. And you know, there was some exciting things going on in this match. There were some questionable things. I think Dirty Logic is definitely getting a better hang of his team in a lot of ways, but one thing that kind of frustrated me was Kiram kept clicking Fusion Bolt. I want to see Kiram just click those stab buttons. Just click that, what is it, Icicle Spear? Yeah, just click Dragon Claw or Outrage. I want to see Kiram Black just do some damage. But he was having some good plays. I really liked his use of Jolteon this week. It was sad to see it go down a little bit earlier in the match, but that T-Wave they got off on Melone was super helpful. It let Mega Karen take it down later on in the match. It's just a few things that he's still needs to kind of get together, like and it's something that I've seen a lot of people forget. Urshifu's ability going through Toxapex's Baneful Bunker, you know, it goes through all protects, goes through King Shield, goes through Baneful Bunker, goes through Obstruct. Yeah, you just have to keep in mind that Urshifu is hitting you through Protect. There's no point in clicking Protect against it. Keister he really seems to be shaking off the match, or shaking off the rust by the end of this match. You know, he had a lot of good switch-ins. Flygon repeatedly kept shutting down the Jolteon, which was even taking advantage of Pincurchin's terrain with rising voltage. But, you know, I think Dirty Logic needs to work a little bit more on reading predicts, or making predicts, making reads. It's just, you know, Keister's really getting it together. He was making Pincurchin look like a high tier Mon, I think. It did a lot for the tier it was drafted at this game. An interesting note is that this game also had a ghost move clicked on a Psychic Normal, as Brad pointed out before we started. Seems to be kind of a weekly thing, so keep your eyes peeled in week 3 for the ghost move on the Psychic Normal. But yeah, no,
We're running out of Psychic Normals.
We are, yeah. I think this match was the main takeaway is that Keister seems to be shaking off that rust. He's getting back into it. But Dirty Logic is he's got a little bit of experience under his belt now, and he's getting there. I think he'll have a huge improvement in these next coming weeks.
Yeah, just looking at Urshifu, Bandit kind of just went to town versus him, assuming that's what it was. Maybe it was Scarf, though. Maybe I'm sleeping on Toxapex, but I feel like even that wasn't taking 2 wicked blows. Well, it basically just came down to getting the versus assuming it's choice locked. Rising Voltage was nice tech, taking advantage of his opponent's electric terrain. Unfortunately, Jolteon has the issue of not being able to touch ground types well, and Keister seems aware of that, bringing in the Flygon very safely versus Jolteon. Gardevoir did not get to be as almighty a presence as it normally is in matches, but that could be just due to Meloetta easily tanking special hits, Heatran easily blocking the stab. it was a rough match for it. I'm confused why Heatran didn't have Earth Power this week. Seems like a very optimal week for it to be running that move, considering there's a Heatran Amon that blocks both its stab very easily. He's really been loving that terrain with Pinkirch and combo, and has been working out very well for him.
You know, the one thing, I think everything you've said, both of you guys, has been spot on. We've changed ASL YouTube teams, but even still, I find a theme from last season coming back to this season, and it's what Dravos alluded to earlier. When you draft big hitters, when you draft these ultra attackers like a Mega Gardevoir or a Kieran Black, and you use them in roles that are suboptimal for what they like to do, you tend to get suboptimal results. And I think you could make the argument that a Mega Gardevoir clicking its first attacking move when it was at, I think, 10% health, that's less than ideal. That's really not what you're looking for. And then a Kieran Black that never actually clicks an attacking move that isn't Fusion Bolt. Not that Fusion Bolt wasn't a good bring, but I don't know that you're necessarily using those two Ultra Breakers, as I would call them, to Ultra Break. And again, that's a theme that we dealt with last season a couple of times. I hope to see that change. I hope to see it improve. That's the point of having those mons, is to allow them to click buttons to free up the rest of your mons. I mean, Cobalion's a great example. Cobalion needs help from big hitters. He has big hitters. It's like the plan is there, but he's just not been able to bring it into fruition yet.
Yeah, I agree completely. Another thing about this match is, it was big in my opinion, was Kisa getting just a single layer of spikes up, but that one layer of spikes was proved to be quite big. It added up. Everything that switched in just took damage after damage after damage, and in the end, I think it killed Gardevoir on the switch in. And this shows how big hazards can be if they play right. You don't need to stack a huge amount. You just need a single layer or something is good enough in some occasions, and Kisa did it really well here. Dirty Logic, I think he could have played a little better. Preserving that Mega God would have been nice. Not having to switch into Meloetta with guard would have been big for him. Heatran, as previously mentioned, can cover guard stab, but you don't really want to take a focus blast or two on switch in. Meloetta was big for Kisa. Dirty Logic didn't really have an answer for it. Would have been nice to see maybe Dusknoir paralyzing the Meloetta or statusing it, allowing for something like Kirabi to revenge kill it. Yeah, I think Dirty Logic still has some room for improvement in his prep game. Hopefully, he can work on that this season. And yeah, it was a fun game nonetheless.
All right,
Shall we move on to the next game?
I think so.
Next up, we have Static vs. Brad. This was a very good match. Both coaches played this very well. I remember Static got very aggressive with his he brought he was ready. He was ready to go to town with that moment, and Brad would not let him. T-Wave Slowbro was interesting. You think of that mon as being like more of a supportive set, more of a offensive rather. and not more of a supportive, just going off how it has less bulk than normal Slowbro. Mawile was really, really tough for Static. He because none of his mons really with the optimal stop to it. Piloswine didn't want to take it on, but he tried to do what he could with it. Milotic lost its lefties very early on in the game. Bulk Up was very interesting. I feel like that was a nice check to sucker punches or just getting that defense buff in general to outplay what he needed to outplay.
Yeah. What a fun match. I've been having regular battles with Static since, gosh, Ian, how long has Static been in? What, season 2?
Bit too long.
Too long.
Yeah, season 2, I think.
I mean, we've been having battles for a long time, and quite frankly, they've been very close for as long as I can recall. We traditionally have just flat out wars, and they can be rough. He beat me last week, last season, in what ended up being a very good season for me. He was one of my losses, and we've just always had a nice back and forth. I think he's got a good idea of the way I like to play, and I think we traditionally have a lot of fun, and this match was no different than that. He brought, not to be too, speak too broadly, but I thought he brought really excellent prep, really brilliant prep in a lot of ways, and some of the things that he was trying to do was very creative and very difficult for me to try to deal with. And there were several times where I had plans or agendas or things that I wanted to do that he was just really annoyingly in the way, and it made it much more difficult to have a clearly defined path of victory in this match, which I really didn't have for the majority of the match, and I really don't think he had one either. The Slowbro was annoying, and it just kind of got out there and stayed out there and it hung out there. That is, and I will readily admit, in large part my fault. I did not realize that Slowbro doesn't get teleport. Would have just whirlpool trapped it, got rid of it, and life would have been a whole lot easier. But I'm still adjusting to the new generation of Mons, and I did not realize that was an option. So that would have been convenient. It would have saved us probably another 20 turns. But, whatever. I was excited to bring the Sableye. I love Sableye anytime I can get on the field. Really exciting. His Lycanroc Dusk popped off with 3 kills. Was fun. The Thundurus, man, Thundurus is unbelievable. For those that didn't know the match or watch it intimately, the modest Thundurus in this match was so crazy good, and that's in large part Static's fault. His speed tiers, as we talked about in the draft recap, are awful, and so I was able. Yeah, Shadow's fault too. I was able to bring that modest Thundurus, and it was more than he was prepared to handle. A lot of fun, dude. It was a great match. These are the kinds of matches that keep me excited to play Draft League, even many years into my competitive Pokemon career. These are the types of matches that I stay for. It's not titles, it's not win streaks, it's this kind of a match right here. This was a ton of fun.
Small note, Incinerate, amazing tech.
Yeah, I think this was one of my favorite matches this week. Getting Brad getting Stealth Rocks up on Static side, and watching Static trying to kill that build tank with numerous different types of mons, Scissor, Lycanroc, Bolton. Yeah, everything that switched into that build tank was taking Stun Rock damage every single time. So that was great play from Brad's part, just to chip off at Static's mons. One of my favorite things this week was seeing that Lumberry on Lycanroc and the Rosalie Berry on Sableye cancelling each other out on that one turn with Shadow clicking. It goes back to Shadow again. Static clicking, Play Rough, and Brad clicking whatever he clicked. It was Will-O-Wisp. I'm still a little confused why he didn't go Excel Rock right after the Play Rough. The priority there should cancel out the Prankster Will-O-Wisp. I think Brad was at 28%, so my calculations say that should have killed with an Excel Rock. So not sure what happened there, but I think Brad played it amazingly. Shadow, my lord, I'm just obsessed with Shadow today. Static.
You have something to share?
This is what I wish Shadow. This is what I feel like Shadow could be playing at. His levels should be something like this. What is there? Yeah, Static. Next season ahead, he could probably make this work, and even with this loss, I think he'll be competitive for a playoff spot come end season.
Yeah, I do think that's worth mentioning. We mentioned it week 1, and not to interrupt or get a line again, but he played TCP week 1, and then who is one of only 2 coaches who have multiple ASL championships. And then he played me week 2, who would be the other person on that list. So you're counting ASL history. That's a rough start to the season. So he's 0-2 and -4, but I don't think that record is indicative of the quality of play and prep that Static's been bringing.
Yeah.
Something that keeps getting overlooked, and, I'm sure Static's very upset about it. I'm getting a little bit frustrated with it, is that Slow Road nickname is just great. It needs to be mentioned. I really like Brain Blast for the nickname. Good old Jimmy Neutron reference. I'm guessing. I hope it is. I know he says Brain Blast. I don't know if it's a reference to something else, but if it is a Jimmy Neutron reference, then well done, Static. Tip of the cap to you, good sir. That's all I have to add. That's about it.
It'd be better if he was Quick Draw.
True.
On top of that.
Now I'm just disappointed. Never mind, I take it all back.
Shall we move on to the next game?
I'll say I've put way too much time and effort into my nicknames this season, and I'm really enjoying it.
As you should. Nicknaming is the
Is it
most
all
important
gods?
part.
What'd you say, Lily?
Is it all names after gods?
Greek gods, yeah.
Nice.
I'm just gonna say I don't care much for nicknames. I only do it for you guys, not for myself.
As you should.
And he wonders why he hasn't won yet. Let's see. Am I next?
You are.
Yes.
Yes, you are.
I'm going to talk about Melone versus who is this other one?
I think he's the crowd favorite.
Are you changing the name of the team that lost? Is that what?
No, that's
They need
crowd.
more support, clearly.
This was a really fun match. In that, I think some things happened in this match that weren't supposed to happen. Mega Man Electric is not supposed to get +1 special attack boost and stay on the field for literally forever. That doesn't happen in Draft League battles. Like, Mega Man Electric is meant to maybe get an Intimidate and Volt Switch out and move along with the game. And this dude was hanging out in the field for 164 turns in a row. It was insane. Flamethrower eventually did get rid of the Sanaconda, which I didn't think was going to happen. I thought potentially of turning on a movie or doing anything else. But a really fun match. I mean, it was tight. It was fun. The Jirachi, being a Jirachi, doing the things Jirachis do, it almost made the turn. I mean, it got halfway around the corner. It was trying to turn this thing all the way around. It was a fun match. The Zoroark play was actually pretty decent. If you pay attention to the battle, there was a couple of times Zoroark came in that mattered. The Jellicent was useful. The Vaporeon, I thought, was getting the flip turn out, getting the Haxorus in. Could have been useful, although it just ended up getting toxic. There was opportunities here that I thought potentially Dravos could have made it happen. The is it Kebia Berry on top of Lele?
Yeah.
That Kebia Berry. If that Kebia Berry had not have been there, that probably is bad news bears for Melone, but it was. It was there. Final score 2-0, I think is truly an example of how close this match ended up being, but it did not appear that way. Turned 20 through 30. There was a point in time where Melone was up his full roster to, I believe, just Jirachi or just Jirachi and Zapdos. So Melone was way, way, way ahead, and then Jirachi said, "Hey, hold on just a second. I have something to say about this." And the game got much closer. So nice play from Dravos. Excellent use of a really frustrating Mon to try to deal with. But the story of the day is that Mega Manectric in my mind. What an incredible performance.
Yeah, Melone started the season really well. Somewhat how he played in Season 6 when he made playoffs. I kind of see that same spark in him in his prep. Everything seems to make sense. Something that doesn't often happen with Melone in previous seasons. But this season, he starts off really brightly. He's been using that Mega Manectric really well. You wouldn't even notice that it's been a bit nerfed without hidden power. The way he's been playing it has been really good, and that continued on today, putting so much pressure on Dravos with that Magnum Rise nullifying Earthquake threats. Besides Mega Manectric, this game could have probably been a lot more one-sided if Dravos didn't use Jirachi the way he did, really smartly in the end to claw it back, to give himself a shot. But in the end, Malone's prep was just too good, and prepping for that +1 poison jab on Tapu Lele, and having the knowledge and the foresight to put Kebia Berry and deviate such to survive a +1 poison jab was really good to hit his part. Playoffs is going to be really competitive this season. We have so many coaches gunning for those limited spots. Should be a fun one.
Yeah, you guys are all acting like I was trying to win. No, I'm more focused on the coach drafts. I drafted Malone, in case you forgot. I'm just trying to have fun, that's why I kept it close. But I really just want Malone to do well for the coach draft.
Dravos, I have a question.
Yeah.
You brought in Vaporeon to Wish. You passed it off to Haxorus, then back to Vaporeon. What was the thought process there?
Haxorus was gonna die. I wasn't calcing the +1 to Manectric's attack, special attack. When I brought in Haxorus, I was like, yes.
No, not that one.
Which one then?
Not there. You wish passed onto a Porygon 2 and immediately got toxic and immediately.
Immediately what? You cut out?
You wish passed to Haxorus, got toxic by Porygon 2, and then you immediately went back to Vaporeon to die.
Oh, I think I was afraid of
Did
Ice
you
Beam.
watch?
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was packing like Ice Beam or something at the time. He hadn't revealed
Okay,
his full
fair.
moveset. And I don't think I killed with... No, I didn't kill with close combat without a Dragon Dance. And yeah, Ice Beam would have destroyed Haxorus. So it was a
Fair, fair.
necessary scout. Malone just put on a ton of pressure on me. I thought Lightning Rod worked like Flash Fire, like with Mega Houndoom, so I thought I was going to lose that +1 special attack once it Mega Evolved, and I thought, oh, no problem. Sandaconda's max Videf this week. It was a huge problem. All I could really do was attempt to try and stall out Mega Manectric because I brought only EQ on Sandaconda because I thought, oh, if it's in against a flying type, I'll just switch out. It won't be a problem. It was a big problem.
You missed his biggest flying type there was. A
Yes.
flying dog.
Yes. The grounded dog is the best flying type of all. Yeah, no, Malone just
Let's
he
see you watch
outgapped
this
me.
game.
Are we on to the next one then?
On to the next one.
All right.
Okay, we have the final match, which is Lille versus TCP. Big match this one. Probably the most high caliber match of the week. So, few things to mention right off the bat. Lille played Mega Steelix really well. Lots of offensive pressure. Nothing particularly like to switch it. Even Don Fan switched it to almost 40% on the heavy slam. So that wasn't going to take in too many wasn't going to switch into many heavy slams. The air balloon on Kukelder. I'm completely drunk today. The air balloon on Chandelier was really nice as well. For like a turn. Air balloon is definitely one of the best items. No, I'm
Best
kidding,
at
but
sucking.
yeah, it was quite good. Yeah, I think this game was really back and forth. Lille had the game under control for the most parts, from what I've seen. The play of Manaphy, Tail Glow, and the power swap on TCP's part was really nice, but I think TCP needed more chip for that to actually work in his favor, which was unfortunately not able to get. Maybe hazards up on Lille's side would have helped TCP in this game to close it out, but that didn't happen, and either Lille didn't give him the opportunity to, or TCP just didn't prep for that. Yeah. Another thing I would say that Azel probably could have been played better on TCP's part, because Azel would have put in a lot of pressure on Lille once Coco was down. Which Coco did go down. Was the first mod on Lille's side to go down. We didn't see that though. Lille played it really well and got the win in the end.
Yeah, no, air balloon is the worst item, as I am apparently under the belief of. I said air balloon's an interesting item, which apparently means that I hate it and that it's awful and should be removed from the game. So, yeah, no more air balloons. Brad, I hope to see 6 air balloons on your team next week. No, Lily played it very well. Lots of good reads, lots of good plays. The Chandelier did a insane amount this week. It was a very real threat. The air balloon did help it in one situation. I mean, I don't know, maybe like a expert belt
I
or
mean, that's all it needed to
leftovers
do.
might have helped more in other situations. But no, the point is Lily played exceptionally, used that air balloon very well, and he beat one of the best coaches, in my opinion, in the league. TCP has proven that he's a huge, huge force to be reckoned with, and a 3-0 is a pretty solid victory. So well done, Lily. Even if you had an air balloon.
Will you continue to doubt Brad and his air balloon, though?
Yes, because apparently I'm supposed to. So
Yeah. I loved the power swap on the Manaphy, but I was like, what's stopping me from setting up again? I highly doubt he finishes me off in another move, just looking off what he had on it. I was more afraid of him draining on Manaphy because I was max HP, so that would have healed it back so much. But that's why I felt more comfortable just tail glowing again and being like, okay, whatever. Coco, I get what he thought was gonna happen when he swapped Entei into that Thumb Punch, but I actually wasn't play rough this week, so I didn't really have a choice in the matter of trying to play rough the Grimmsnarl. He brought a lot of interesting sets. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure the Tapu Fini was either Specs or Scarf. I'm leaning more towards Scarf. Curse Venusaur was interesting. I don't know if I felt particularly threatened by it. I was afraid of a knockoff which made me a little more hesitant to go Latias versus it, but otherwise, I'm very happy Arctozolt worked out. Destroyed a Specs Azelf, and what more can you really ask of your tier 4?
Yeah. There are very few times within the last, I'm going to say since TCP, when TCP first joined the ASL, there was a catching up period where he was kind of learning high level competition. Since I would say that he's kind of got there, arrived, gotten to that upper echelon, there's very few times where I can look at a battle and say unequivocally he got outplayed. And this is one of those matches. So cap tip to Lille, nod to week 1. Lille definitely took a hold of the reins quickly and held on to it throughout the match, in my opinion. Lille had the right sets. He used those sets the right way. And the play throughout the battle was very close to flawless. TCP is an extremely talented battler, always has been, and my suspicion is that he will remain so at least until he's, 60, 70, maybe 80 senile years old. But if you're playing TCP, you might want to check all his mods for draining kiss sets because he likes to do that. Lille brought a nice little team. The one thing that I was worried about with Lille's team is it didn't look like it was going to fare if this turned into a 60, 70 turn match. Some of Lille's mons looked like they were potentially going to get worn down. Well, luckily, it didn't because he had control and maintained control of this match pretty well throughout. Great match, exciting, a lot of fun, and not very often are you going to see TCP take one on the chin the way he did in this match. So hats off to Lille. Nice win.
My hat is off.
good.
TCP has been improving though, so if he keeps this up, he might even make playoffs this time.
He might even make playoffs this time. We can hope.
I don't know. He's 1-1 at the moment. Looking kind of sketchy.
Do we want to get into transactions?
I made the slides for
Sure.
a reason.
Let's do it.
Why would you do that?
For a reason.
It looks like I'm up first. I dropped the Metacam to pick up the Mesprit. Terrifyingly excuse me, overwhelmingly sad at this. I love Metacam. I don't know if it's the fastest, but it's certainly one of the fastest pure power users. It's very strong, a lot of fun, but it was just too similar to Mega Mawile in prep for me. Every time I wanted to bring something that hit hard as a physical breaker, I felt like Mawile was the better option. So I just went with a mon that had more diversity and could do more for my roster.
I like that.
No, you had it
transaction.
Yeah,
right. Terrifyingly.
Wow, that was a lot.
what happened to our order? Okay, so best friends definitely one of my favorite mods in Draft League. All three Lake, Pixies, Ezelf, Uxie, Besprit all offer something different, and Besprit offers a bit of both, and just adds to its versatility. And someone like Brad can really bring the Brad out of it, bring the best out of it. Yeah, it's going to offer a lot more to his team than Medicham, as he said. Medicham's a bit too similar to Mega Mawile to offer something different. Best pitch really diverse, so that will be good for him, bad for us.
Yeah, I like Mesprit as well. It's a very well-rounded Pokemon. I mean, just looking at stats, it's what, base 80 in HP and speed and 105 and everything else. I'm pretty sure. Uh,
Yeah,
so it
yeah.
it can be a check. It can be an offensive presence. It's not gonna like super wall out like any real strong hitters. It's not gonna break any super strong walls, but it gives you a lot of options. It gives you rocks. It's very you can run like AV. You could run Specs or a Choice Band even. You could run Scarf. It just brings a lot of diversity, a lot of different utility to it, and I think it's a good set. I definitely think Metachan was a little bit redundant with Mega Mawile on the team already.
Not speaking from experience or anything, but I find the set of Nasty Plot and Endor Slack particularly scary.
Oh, do you? Well,
Yes,
maybe I should consider bringing that in my week
it's a
3
real
match.
game ender.
Well, I'll think about it, and I guess we'll see if I end up bringing it next week.
Yeah, that was a very good suggestion by me. I hope you use it.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
You should be more original, Brad.
Wow, those mental implants that, wow, that was some subliminal messaging at its finest, I guess.
Yeah. Are we ready
Okay,
for
so
the-
shall we move on to the next one?
I think so.
Please
It'd be
do.
better.
Okay, so Peaches dropped one of my favorite mods in terms of design. I'm never going to use it, but it looks cool. Alolan Golem for Kabutops. Well, I don't think Alolan Golem would have had the chance to come to many games, considering the rest of Peach's roster. I'm not sure what are the chances of Kabutops making many appearances. But it is a higher likelihood that you'll see Kabutops to something like Alolan Golem on Peach's team show up. Would I have used a transaction for this? I'm not too sure, but maybe Peaches can make it work. I'm excited to see him making work. He's made rest of his team work really well, so I assume we can make this work as well. So maybe in webs it can be even greater hazard. Maybe you find some way to set up rain dance for it. We'll see. Excited to see what he can do with it. Should be a fun one.
I'm excited to see Peaches pick up one of the best designed Pokemon of all time. It's a known fact. It's a very great mon. I would have definitely used a transaction on this. I can see it being brought a lot. Pretty much just the opposite of everything Ian just said.
Makes sense.
No, Kabutops is, it has its niche uses, but when it is a good week to bring it, it's a great week to bring it. I've seen Kabutops do a lot of work before. You know, it brings a little bit of versatility to it as well with Rapid Spin. Swift Swim is good tech he could look to in the future. The only concern would be, I believe Kabutops likes to click Aqua Jet. I don't know how that's going to go with Psychic Terrain. But, I mean, once again, Peaches is in charge of when he brings Aqua Jet. He's in charge of when he brings Psychic Terrain. Um, and, you know, Peaches has performed very well in a lot of matches that I've seen by him. And I don't think that'll be any sort of an issue for him. I'm excited to see what he does with Kabutops.
You know, for a second there, I thought you were talking to Pharaoh's with all the things you were saying. I was like,
Yes.
I don't know if it's that good a design. It's a
I
steel
don't know if
durian.
Ferroseed gets Swift Swim. I don't know if Ferroseed gets Aqua Jet. I can see why
I
he'd be
was more talking
confused.
at the start of that.
I could see why he would be confused. Yeah, I like the Kabutops primarily for Peach's team. I could see it. I don't see it necessarily bringing rain, although he could, and I don't know that I see it bringing much defensive utility. But the rapid spin plus damage sets, I think that is a lot of value on Peach's team that already has a lot of high-powered offense. So rapid spin maybe to clean, or potentially rapid spin then a stone edge to get some big damage off that he needed to get into the Mega Zam. It has value. And then he dropped a Lapras to pick up the Pharaoh Seed. Pharaoh Seed is what it is, right? I mean, it's, you know, a hazard carrier. It's not a great mon, but it will serve its role decently. Lapras is a fun mon. I think Water Absorb is so important nowadays, but you know, Pharaoh Seed's fine. It's never going to be great. It's never going to be terrible. It's fine.
True that.
Yeah,
Hmm.
agreed.
Are we done?
Not much to add. Not much to add to Pharaohseed. It's whatever Brad said.
Yeah, what Brad said.
All right. I think we're done.
Yeah, let's see what slides next. Oh, it's the ending slide.
What?
Shall we rush there for another 30 minutes?
Yes.
Oh, you know,
And Dravos, before we
uh,
leave, what was the lesson of the week?
The lesson of the week was that air balloon sucks.
don't doubt my air balloon.
That sounds more correct.
Good week though. Week 3 already has at least one very exciting result. Several more to come. We have, I think, a 2-0-2-0 team facing off. So week 3 is a big one. Don't miss it.
This has been the ASL Season 12 Week 2 recap. That's ASL, which stands for Air Balloon Sucks League. This has been me, Travos, Brad, Ian, and Lily.
See ya.
Was I here?
Doodles.